let's load some data and output it into our HTML page. So we've already set up the basic structure for this, where we've got a button and we've got an output area. So the button eventually, when it gets clicked, it triggers our AJAX, and our AJAX call goes over using an HTML HTTP request, makes a request to a URL, to this URL, and then once the ready state changes and once status is 200, we pull back that information within the response text. We parse it out because it comes back as a string value, and we saw earlier that we can take a string value, we can parse it into JSON, which is a usable JavaScript object format. So we're pulling all that information back, and at this point we're ready to make use of it. So once this event is triggered, let's output that content into our output element over here. So the first thing that we saw that we should build that out, we could set up a variable, and we could do something like message, and then output inner HTML equals message, or we could just do it without doing the message variable. And let's get rid of that console. We don't need that one anymore. So now let's build out our object, and we saw that we're returning back as JSON data. So let's just do it as data, and we'll do data and name first, and then just put a space there. And maybe we should again console log out that data information just to make sure that we're grabbing it properly, because it does get a little bit tricky. So usually I do use the console to take a closer look. So it does look like there's something wrong there, that I'm not actually outputting that data properly. So let's see what's going on there, and we'll comment out this part, and we'll comment out that one. So refresh, load, and we see that we get the results. So the same thing as last time, that we need to, so we're parsing it out as data, but we need to take a closer look at that object. So we want to see results, and remember again it was an array, so we want to see that first result. So there we go. So once we pull it in within this type of format, then we can make use of it within our data. So maybe for this time, let's call this one JSON, and then we'll set up another variable. So set up a bunch of variables here, call this one data, and this one will be the JSON object, and output like that. And now it should be working, because we can see within our console that that output should be correct. So we also had the ability to, so we're loading the user's information. So let's also grab the picture as well. So let's do an image source and double quote, single quote. I'm just going to use a placeholder there for that, and then again a double quote. So I know that's a little bit, it might be a little bit confusing there, hard to see, but essentially that's what's happened there. And in order to get picture, so it wasn't name, it was picture, and I believe we had large was an option. So let's see what happens. So there we go. So we can load a bunch of pictures, a bunch of names. We can do something with that name as well. So if we want to make it larger, let's have some fun with this. So refresh, load. So there we go. So we're loading a bunch of randomly generated pictures and people's names, all dynamically coming from the website, and all using AJAX. So try it out for yourself and see what you can make happen. Make use of some of that additional data that's there. You can output it there, and just practice getting that data, working through the JSON object, and retrieving out the information that you want to make use of within your web page. So go ahead, try that out for yourself. And next, I'm going to show you some other ways that we can make AJAX calls. So this one, the XHR request. So this one is not always used. There's some more options. There's jQuery. There's also some AJAX libraries. And there's also Fetch, which is a newer version available in the browsers that handle the newer versions of JavaScript. So they're going to be able to use fetch, although it's still not working across all browsers, and especially some of the older browsers. It is working across Chrome, so it is an option, and it's another really quick, clean, easy way to make AJAX calls. So it is important to understand that this was the original way of doing it, the most basic way, and once you understand how this works, the other formats are going to make a lot more sense, and they're going to be a lot easier to digest. So all of that is coming up.